Hi,
All right.
everybody.
Hi, everybody. We haven't done this in a while.
I know, yay, we're doing a video again. It's really has been way too long.
Yes.
Stuff's happening. It's live.
So this is our spirit chats.
Yay, we're back for Spirit Chats. Hopefully, we'll be doing a lot more of these.
Yes.
Yeah, things are kind of shifting.
Hmm.
That's normal. That's life. All right. So today we're going to talk about, we're going to talking about mediumship and messages from spirit. What is the most, I don't know, it may be the most important messages that come from spirit and the most kind of common things that the spirit wants us to know, or well, not just spirit, loved ones from others, the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, what they want us to know. And I don't know. Do you have any good stories around that, or should I start, or do you want to start? It's been a while since
Oh,
we've done this. We got to get back in the flow.
yeah, yeah. I had like two readings recently. It's funny how, as you go on and you start giving readings, how
Hmm.
your style of reading sort of develops.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I've noticed lately, like the metaphors and the way I'm being led, I've been getting like themes for people. Like, have you ever had that? I forgot to, like, when it comes to mediumship, like the messages, the images, they'll come in to tell a story, but it's almost like pointing, like if I can tie it all together, there's these themes that show up for the people. Like one
No.
person had, they were at a crossroads.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, it was like you're at a crossroads, and the other one was about like the theme of letting go. Like
Uh-huh.
every example in all the messages had some type of visual
Uh-huh.
metaphor for letting go. It was really
Okay.
bizarre. And I'm like, oh, this is new. Okay, I like it.
So, do you see that symbolically, like through symbols? Because
Yeah.
everybody's different. How we receive messages are different for everybody.
Yeah, I guess like the I was tying it together like a lot of times I don't, the way it comes in for me is like through words, but then visuals. And then like I have to look at the visual, the metaphor. It was like a lighthouse and figure out, oh, they're trying to say that she's like a lighthouse.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then breaking that energy down. But then it ended up being a theme too. It's almost like a left and a right brain thing for me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. And and then the messages are whatever. Yeah,
It just sort
like
of like bubbles up
uh-huh.
like in different layers. It's like they give me metaphors that are layered with a lot of complexity that can give like a couple different messages out of them. Like that's the direction of my mediumship lately.
Yeah, and what are the messages? What kind of messages? Just curious. Because that's I think people find that really interesting. What are the messages for people?
Well, the message was like talking about like using the lighthouse in a way to say this person was waiting, like they were waiting for like a relationship. And I kept feeling like I kept seeing a lighthouse. And the lighthouse they were saying is her. And they were like, she was just waiting for any ship to come in.
Mhm.
Like,
Ah,
and
okay.
like, please, I'm ready.
Uh-huh.
But there was this lack of like self-worth that like didn't have to like send out that light just hoping any ship would come in. It would just be like, you want the ship to come in, and you can go about being happy, like, being, like you didn't have to be the beacon. You have everything you need, the light, the love, be
Mhm.
happy, no trust. It was about trust and knowing that your ship will come in, but
Mhm.
you just didn't want any shitty ship to come because that was the theme. The theme was you'll take any ship.
Yeah, yeah. And it's the ship. Okay.
Hmm.
Interesting.
But
Because
it'll start out like that for me, like a
yeah,
picture, and then it kind of unfolds.
it's interesting because a lighthouse can be so many different things.
Right.
So that's interesting. But it was that for this person, it was that thing. That's
Yes.
yeah. And that's why that getting to like dream interpretation, it's not the same thing for everybody. It's like if you saw a lighthouse in a dream, what would that mean?
To me.
Symbolically, that you need guidance, that maybe you have guidance, or I mean, or no, she's waiting. This one, not a dream, but a message, psychic
Yeah.
message. Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's interesting. And you know what I've noticed? it always changes. It's never like you get and maybe this is me, but this is what I think is pretty common is that you get messages in many different ways, and it's always shifting and changing. It's not just one way and that's it. It's um, because we're always different. We don't stay the same. So
Yeah.
how information comes in can shift and change too. Like sometimes you might be really strong visually, and then suddenly you're more empathetic and you're feeling everything that's going on instead of and less visual, or you might suddenly start hearing more, or
Hmm.
and it's yeah. And for me, so I did um, um, a mediumship event with two other mediums, and it was a mediumship circle. There were 30 people there. It was really fun to do. But one of the things, and this can happen, some of the people were coming in the night before
Oh, yeah. Hmm.
and like showing up like full on visual in front of my face. I'm seeing them like, oh, you're in my face.
Yeah.
Like full size in my face, kind of thing. And those people didn't come in. So it was just an interesting experience. And my friend Trish, she started getting, I think a couple days before, she started getting information from one of the people in this thing. And she started writing everything down. So by the time this happened, she had all this information, like for one particular person, but she was getting that information days before.
Yeah.
So you never know when spirit's going to come in and start talking to you. It's just an interesting experience. But in this event, what I saw, the first thing that I saw this hand. It was really visual, more so than physical, like the clairsentience, like really feeling it in my body. This was much more visual, a lot more visual. But I've been doing a lot of remote viewing, so maybe that's why. I don't know. No explanation. But
Hmm.
I kept seeing this really old guy with the white hand. Like all of a sudden, he's laying in bed. He's dying.
Oh,
Like he's in the death process. But I see this hand lift up. It was actually this hand. Wait, that doesn't. Anyway, so I saw a hand lift up, like take my hand right before he dies. And so, and we we're doing some piggybacking off of each other's messages, which is pretty common. Like somebody sees one thing, but another medium in the room will see something else to add to that message. And uh, so my friend Trish, well, she was giving a message, and I thought, well, I'm seeing this. And so kind of trying to make it fit, but it didn't really fit. Anyway, and this was at the beginning of the event, the message circle.
yeah.
And And then, I don't know, almost an hour later, I'm seeing this guy. And this is like full on visual. Like I'm seeing like a movie in my head. Like I'm seeing this really old man trying to walk across the room, and he's fighting with a woman, like, no, no, I don't want help. I don't need any help. And there's even some sort of walker thing over here. And at some point, and he's being kind of like, just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. He's really old. He
Uh-huh.
falls over. This is in their living room. He falls over, and this is the beginning of the end. He didn't die right then, but this was the beginning of the end. And um, he he so he died about a month later. So it turns out there was a woman, she could take the message, and it was very accurate. But what's interesting is right at the very, like, she goes, oh, he was in a coma and he reached his hand up. While he's in a coma, he reached his hand up right before he died
Wow.
to take her hand.
Oh,
And it was like, oh, so that message came in two parts,
yeah.
one at the end, but this didn't, we're trying to make it fit and it didn't belong. Anyway, but at that moment, so the message, so they kind of, everything came together for her as far as message. And it was like he wanted her to know how sorry he was
Hmm.
that he didn't show enough love towards her,
Hmm.
and that he was really super cranky, kind of cantankerous
Hmm.
man, and just did not show her enough love and appreciation. And he was really sorry for that. He wished that he would have given her more love and been more expressive in that way. That was his regret. Anyway, and that was like, and that was super right on for her. Anyway, so lately for me doing this, so that was just one very clear recent message.
Hmm.
But it was very visual. It was like watching a movie. And sometimes when you get information, it comes in bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Like, but this time it was like, oh, this is a movie. I'm seeing the movie. Um, but what was but that was the most important part was the actual, so there was the evidence, but the actual message about I didn't love you enough and I'm really sorry. And that's what comes through quite a bit lately. Me giving messages, mediumship messages was, I'm sorry I did that. I was really hard on you. And I should not have been. I should have been more sympathetic and caring, or I should have, and that was actually kind of mean of me. These kind of things, I should have just loved more. Because a lot of I should have loved more and been open, or um, and some messages are like, oh, you need to have more fun. You are way too serious. And you need to have
Yeah,
more
yeah,
fun.
yeah,
You're taking life too seriously. Please, and or don't get wrapped up in being sick. Go
yeah.
enjoy life. These kinds of messages.
Hmm.
Yeah, those have been coming through lately. Yeah. What
Well,
about you?
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always about the love, I feel like
Yeah.
they're always like I when I think about how I like to read and what I like to do, like the healing medium. So I don't enjoy, and I'm not saying it's wrong or right when to give
Mhm.
psychic messages about the future. I prefer to be my readings. I've always said, like, how do I make people feel seen? Like by people they've lost, like to create the connection so that like to take that burden off that like people when they've lost people they love, that they know that they're still there. So
Yeah.
it's more like I feel like my messages come from a place of like how would, and it's I guess I tie into some of evidential, but it's more like sometimes like how are they emotionally feeling, and the other side sees how the people are feeling
Mhm.
and how so they go, oh my God, they're still with me, they still
Yeah.
I get a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of
That can
suicide
happen. Like they actually are witnessing something that they're going through and they share that information.
because I want people to feel like there is something more, like this just isn't it,
Mhm. Yeah.
and that they can still keep that connection. Another thing too, I feel like I give a lot of messages about either people losing people unexpectedly, or like not having the closure, like either suicide or an accident or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
so they know that hey, that person is at peace and they're happy and you
Yeah.
know
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's always important. They're okay. They're actually really okay on the other side. Or they're healing and they're working stuff out. But
yeah.
yeah, but they're still with them. There was somebody in class once who, this is a while ago, they came in to get, so they come into class because it's a mediumship, it's psychic and mediumship development. But every once in a while, somebody comes in who really wants a reading. They're coming into class. So, because they think they're going to get something answered and they don't want to commit to a reading, that's okay.
Yeah,
But they really shouldn't be coming to a class. They should just need to get a reading.
just get a
And
reading.
yeah, but so this woman came in with her aunt. And the woman, she was younger. I think she was in her 20s, mid 20s, maybe. Her brother had been shot.
Hmm.
And so they were trying to get messages from the brother. And
Okay.
so I was working with the woman, the younger woman, and the aunt. The aunt was there like this way the whole time. Just like
Not having it.
she probably shouldn't have been there, but
Okay.
that's okay because she's very like and very rigid as far as what she thought should come through and what kind of information. And it's really
Oh,
you need to be open. Just
we've
be
all been there with
open.
people like that in our readings.
Yeah, it's not helpful.
No.
You have to be open. And anyway, so the message for this woman. So I can't remember how it worked, but I ended up giving messages to this woman whose brother had been shot. And he came through loud and clear. And he was young and dumb. He was shot by a friend. They were goofing off one night. The friend shot him. in a car. Anyway, so all this stuff came through, and what he said to his sister was, I was being really stupid. I was being really stupid. So he was looking at his own accountability for that incident that happened. And he wasn't angry at his friend, supposed friend, who had shot him and killed him. And the aunt was really angry. So, and hey, she can,
Sorry.
that's, that's how she feels. That's fine. But the sister could hear that. She's like, oh, yeah, yeah, that it made a lot of sense to her that he was saying, I was really stupid.
Yeah.
We were being stupid. Like the two of them together, they were being stupid. They were doing some really dumb stuff. So later on after class, the aunt heard this. And so the sister could take it in.
Uh-huh.
But the aunt, oh, it pissed her off. It was like,
Really?
oh no, she didn't want to hear that. It's like, no, because she's still, you know, blaming. And I think you can't help but blame. You're going to be angry and you're going to blame because somebody is dead because
Yeah.
of some really stupid behavior. But at the same time, this kid who had died in this murder, he was, I don't know, an advanced enough soul that, or had enough insight that he could actually see his own part in the thing that happened to him, even though it's a terrible, and two people's lives are ruined that night,
Right.
not just one.
Yeah.
And but one's still alive, and you got to take that into consideration. But the aunt just could not hear that at all. And
Yeah.
sometimes people can't hear messages when somebody comes in to ask for forgiveness. I've had this happen more than once, where somebody comes in, like somebody's father, and he wants to say he's sorry, like really wants to bare his soul
Yeah.
and ask for forgiveness, or just say, I recognize what I did and that was really bad. I should not have done that.
Sorry, I'm on the
That's
phone.
okay. And people don't want to hear it. They're
Yeah.
like, no, I don't want to talk to
Mom, I'm recording.
them. It's okay. Anyway, sometimes people don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
And I've had that happen with another person. She hadn't known a lot of people who had passed away. And where she grew up was really rough, and there was a lot of difficulty around how she grew up and stuff.
Yeah.
And two of her aunts came through that kind of led to her having such a difficult time, or part of her growing up experience was really bad. They came through to talk to her, and she's like, no, no, I don't want to hear from him. I don't want to hear from him. I'm like, okay, well, but they're saying no, okay. It's like, we can stop this. And I think she didn't know a lot of people who passed away. I think she had a dog.
Okay.
So the dog came through, but there was not. So after, like, she doesn't want to hear what these people have to say, there's nothing you can do. They're not
Right.
ready. And that's okay. And I don't know what they said because we shut that down. But a lot of times it's like, I want to say what I want you to know what I did was wrong, and I can see that now, but I couldn't see it before.
Yeah.
Or whatever the message, I didn't know any better. It could, a plethora of things of what that can be. Yeah. But it brings healing. That helps. That brings, well, it can. But not till, some people are just not ready to hear it, and that's okay, because they're still healing, whatever in their life. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like hold this, and they're in a holding pattern with their hearts, you know.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
like holding on to that pain or that trauma or whatever.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and not wanting to move forward. So I mean that would mean they have to go forward in life without
Yeah.
it. And they
Yeah.
don't too identified with that, you know.
Yeah. And that when they're ready, they're ready. And they can
So,
take as long as they need to.
hey, you can take a few lifetimes if you want. That's what I've read. Like,
Absolutely. As long as you need.
one time I was like this in the last 3 years I was dealing with something I couldn't let go of, and I was in the bathtub and I was starting to like let it go. It was so funny. And I think I had told you I had a message come through. I saw this woman appear in my mind's eye, and she says, "Oh, we're so happy for you. You've been holding on for onto this with this person for like since Atlantis." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I guess I'm stubborn." I've been working on this thing with this person for accident, and I don't even really go into all of that too often. So it was just a funny little message.
Oh, that's funny. Well, you're ready when you're ready.
Apparently,
Yeah,
you can hold on to something, and the universe will let you do
yeah,
it as long as you want.
yeah, yeah. That's funny. Do you have any other interesting mediumship experiences around healing or messages from people, like the most common one? Oh, by the way, I love when animals come through too. That's always
Yeah. I don't get that too much. I get like a lot of, and this is kind of controversial for some people who might have religious, but when I get suicidal people coming through or people um, that maybe have lifestyles that aren't accepted in religion
oh,
that come through that have passed, I get a lot of messages of like, it's not true. Like, I'll be there, like, waiting for you when it's your time. Um, I didn't go where they told you I was going to be. Like, I'm
okay.
still with God, just like everybody
Yeah,
else. That's a
yeah.
popular one that comes through. It's like, and then I think for some people that either love somebody that was like gay or like committed suicide, they're just like, oh, thank God, you
Yeah,
know? I thought I'd
yeah,
never see them again or whatever.
yeah. Because they're in a different level of heaven.
Yeah. Big
Yeah,
eye roll.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. And yeah, sometimes suicide will come through. Yeah, or murdered people. Sometimes there's confusion around like people who've been murdered. There is some sort of confusion.
yeah.
Because they're still kind of like, wait, what happened? What happened? Or they're still really angry. I've
Did they
seen
suffer?
people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, did they suffer? Yeah, that's a good question. I have not had anyone say that they suffered at the end, like when they passed, that there's relief right away. But or yeah, sort of like in Harry Potter, it's just a thought away when you move to the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a thought away. Um, huh. That makes me think. Yeah, I had a significant message once come through for somebody who had um, killed himself, and um, he didn't even talk about it. There
Oh.
was like, no, he was just concerned for his wife who was still here. Like so much love and concern, and also kind of a gentle, like, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna have what you want in life. Just
Hmm.
because I'm not here and I ended things. I ended, what you thought we were gonna have together did not come into reality, but
Yes.
you're going to have that. And that was the message. It was very, very loving, very loving. Like, no, you're going to have that. And I don't want you to worry about it because I see you crying at night, um, because you think that you can't have it and you're going to have it. So there was no message of how he passed or any of that kind of stuff. It was not, well, actually, there was in a way, but that was earlier. The main message was that, this love that came through. And there's usually so much love that comes through with these messages. Which is such a beautiful thing. And love, and you're gonna have the life that you want. You didn't have it with me, but you are going to have the life that you want. And to not cry, because I see you crying at night because you're afraid you're not going to have that. So that's a healing message right there. That's very
Mhm.
healing. Yeah.
That's your mediumship. Well, I mean, all of this work is healing on some level,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
absolutely. It is healing. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing. It's beautiful work. It's really fun to do.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much at this point where I'm at. The only thing I enjoy is mediumship stuff. So,
Really?
yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's fun. It's really fun. Yeah, even though a lot of times it's sad, but because it's healing, because we always miss our loved ones, who are on the other side. Yeah. But it's very healing.
I also like to give messages too. Sometimes it comes through, and maybe it's because of, I don't know, but like we think, oh, when someone passes, they're just up there on a cloud dancing around,
Uh, yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But they're very much like doing very fun things just like they do when they're
Yeah.
alive, you
Yeah.
know? It's
Yeah.
just going
Yeah.
from one reality to the next.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. They got things to do. Yeah, definitely.
I guess depending on what I have this talk a lot with my client, who's on hospice, and we talk about like kind of the whole idea of, when you pass, you go to the same consciousness of the consciousness that you developed,
Yeah.
so it's like versus like kind of a thing. And she's very religious, so she is really happy about going to a place with Jesus, and
Hmm. Hmm.
um, it's not my thing, but good for her. But like, I just kind of go, I'm probably, I kind of wonder, do you ever wonder where you're like, what astral realm that you'll be drawn to? Like those kinds of messages do come through, and that's why I'm bringing it up. Like,
I
you know,
don't think about that. That's really interesting.
like when my dad passed, I had a couple months after he died, I dreamt of him. He was the last guy that died in his whole high school friend group.
Oh,
And I mean, he used to bring me to the bar with him, and like, like, there's a lot centered around drinking, like from a blue
uh,
collar family. Yeah.
right.
Anyways, when he passed, I found him at like this bar. I mean, I wasn't looking for him. I just was there in this dream that I came lucid, and he was there, and they all looked the way they looked when I was a young girl.
Uh-huh.
Um, and they were all enjoying a beer, smoking a cigarette. They
Yeah.
looked, and then he stood up and he was like, "Oh my gosh!" And he hugged me, and I could feel him, and I woke up with the feeling of him
Oh,
hugging me.
uh-huh.
But I was just like,
Nice.
"Oh, he was just showing me probably like I'm having fun here with all the guys, just
Uh-huh.
like what I liked to do."
Yeah.
But
Yeah. That's like after my sister passed, and then she passed a long time ago. Um, because she was 18, so it was a really long time ago. But and
yeah,
she showed up as my spirit guide, and I've told the story before. She showed up as my spirit guide and has directed me through many things in my life, through dreams, but very clear, like I'm lucid, like we're sitting there talking, kind of dreams. And the last time we really had a talk in a dream was when she said, "Oh, I can't. We're gonna connect in a different way than we ever have. I'm not gonna come to you as much as I have." And I'm like, oh man, because I got used to it. Because that was really
yeah,
her death was really hard for me.
yeah.
And so I got used to at least, well, she comes and visits me and helps me and is one of my guides in my dreams, like profound stuff. And and so when she says, I'm busy, I'm gonna be doing something else. So I cannot visit you the way that you're used to.
I wonder where she went. Where is she
Oh
at?
my dang. But I really like this. It's really
Have you ever
nice.
thought to ask her like for a message like, "Hey, where
What are
did
you
you
doing?
go?"
I should do that. So she still comes through, but it's very
Yeah,
different than it was back then. It's more like she just shows up, she's there, but it's not the same. It's definitely not the same.
not
And
so
it's not
earthly.
as yeah, it's not as advice driven and you should go do this. It's more like, yeah, I'm here. I'm still here. Yeah.
Okay.
I think she might have decided to reincarnate. So
I
she's
was
visiting.
thinking that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have thought of that. So she's visiting, like perhaps when she's sleeping, she'll come and hang out, or like
Mm.
her oversoul or higher self comes to hang
Yeah.
out, visit, and says a few things, but doesn't, it's completely different. So so I had kind of the second mourning period over her not doing that anymore for me, but that's okay, because it was really nice to have that. But
Yeah.
she was a really significant guide for me for 20 years plus.
Yeah.
So, and then it changed, but um, so she definitely went somewhere else. So did a lot of healing and went somewhere else. But
Yeah.
I always thought of her as kind of a higher consciousness soul. Even when she was alive still, there was something about her that was much more at peace than a
Hmm.
lot of people for her age. I mean, she died right out, she graduated from high school
Yeah.
and then she died. So, um, but she had a lot of wisdom and peace for that age, which was just amazing. And
Yeah.
even before she died, she said, I'm gonna, like, it's my time. She actually said, it's my time. So I just want everybody to come visit me, and I don't want to die alone. So just always make sure that there's someone here with me.
Oh,
And so, and I'm like, no, you can't accept that. You have to
right.
fight for your life. Come on. And she's like, no, no, it's my time. I'm gonna go. But to me, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, so when she did pass, she literally sat up and pulled her tubes off and just
Wow. She was
oxygen.
intubated, huh?
Yeah, no, the oxygen she was
Oh,
on.
the oxygen.
Yeah, she
Okay.
was intubated. No, but she was on oxygen. She pulled it off, sat up, and just and laid down and died.
Well, that's a
So
pretty wise, evolved person to
that's
be able to gracefully exit like that
yeah,
at
which is
that age.
that she had peace about it. She
Yeah.
was at peace. So, which is amazing for an 18-year-old. That kind of it really blew my mind. Like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, you have to fight for your life. Come on. Never
Yeah.
expected
And that's what most
to.
people, I think, do. They're
Yeah,
clinging to the.
no. She had a particular peace and wisdom. Yeah. And she's about 5 years younger than me. So anyway, so okay. We don't need to talk about that anymore, but I think it's a beautiful story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, so we were going to kind of segue this into automatic writing, like and
I
connecting with
we have
love life if we
about
have time.
5 minutes left.
Okay, so we can talk about that
Yeah.
next time.
Okay.
But I do want to say that what you can do with automatic writing is that when you remote view, it can turn into automatic writing, like
Hmm.
simultaneously. Yeah, it's which is really interesting. And if you just a little tidbit that if you're getting information like automatic writing, you go through the process of doing that, saying it out loud and recording it at the same time actually helps the flow of information to come
Okay.
through
I
more
don't do that, but
easily.
that's interesting.
Yeah. So try it because it's sort of like you're vocally doing it and with your hands. So it can help it come out. It can help it flow more easily.
Yeah.
You want to try that. It's pretty cool. When you automatic write, who comes through for you? Just a quick,
I wouldn't know if it's like a who. I
or
mean,
what?
I feel like for me, maybe I'm just not tapping into like particular guides, but it just feels like my higher self. But like, I think for me, writing keeps I mean, I'm an air sign. Gemini rules the hands, and the arms. So it's like keeping my hands busy and somewhere to focus, I feel
Yeah,
like channels more of the message for me.
yeah. And communication.
Yeah.
Geminis are communicators, so
Right.
can help open that door more widely. Yeah, interesting.
So a lot of times it's nice because like I'll just be making notes and stuff and then I sort of record the whole reading after I take all the notes and then
Oh,
just
okay.
sort of narrate it.
Uh-huh.
Um
Oh, you might want to do it simultaneously and see what happens. Yeah.
yeah, I'll definitely try that. What was I going to say? I can't remember, but
Um,
oh, that's why like you when we were talking and you're like, "Oh, but like we were talking about the messages, like what, and sometimes I completely feel like when I read, I must just blank like I can't sometimes go back to the reading.
mhm.
It's almost like the information comes in, I record it, and then it's gone.
Oh,
And then someone will say, and I'm sure this happens to you all the time, remember when you said, and you're like, I don't remember saying that.
mhm, mhm.
Does that happen to you? Like,
I have a really good memory, and all you
okay,
have to do is like give me the circumstance,
okay.
and I can pop back in and go, oh yeah, and kind of pop back into that energy.
Oh,
Actually,
that's
uh,
impressive.
yeah, I can do that. So you might want to, yeah, just think of that moment because energetically, it's just tune into that field of information where you were getting it and see
Right.
what happens because you're tuning into that same space and time and see what
Mhm.
happens with that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Try.
Sometimes,
Yeah, and sometimes it just comes through. Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes like almost did I leave my body when I was doing those messages? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, I have a really good memory. So, yeah, but sometimes it's a little vague. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. But anyway, yeah. Let's see. We should
All right.
probably
Well, we got a
end this.
minute and a half,
Okay.
so we should probably wrap up.
Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoyed this, everybody. And yeah, you can share some of your mediumship messages if you want, like the more profound ones if you want in the comments.
Absolutely. We
Yeah.
welcome them.
The healing things, because that's really important. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, have a great day, everybody, wherever you are in the world.
Thank you for being with us.
Yeah. All
And
right. Remember,
look
like,
forward,
share, and subscribe, all that good stuff.
comment, share. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All
Till
right.
next
Bye,
time.
everybody. Till next time.